Hello there! This one will be a bit different. Give or take a month ago, I have released the beta of Iridescent to a small group of people in my Discord. I finished all the mainline content and of course got a bunch of very helpful feedback. But that also means that I now have the long-dreaded task of making the side content. And to add to the suffering, I thought it would be funny to document some of my process into videos, increasing the workload and stress dramatically. Well, not all side content is made equally, of course, so let's start with something small, a minigame. Because this is a worse version of Zelda, of course we need minigames. Currently there is one in the game, but we need more. Now this isn't Rayman free. I would rather refrain from introducing even more completely new moduses of play. I've made plenty already. Minigames in this game will focus on more of the existing tools, used in unique contexts, like your ability to shoot, turning into a target minigame. The focus of this minigame, however, will be the rat. You see, in this game you have the ability to throw out this mouse rat thing. It has its unique properties and is used for puzzles. This is an idea I 100% did not steal from Darksiders 2. The important thing to remember for now is that the movement feels very different with the rat. At first it might feel like an upgrade compared to the player, as it's faster and jumps higher. But the more abilities you get, the more the rat feels like a limitation than a buff. Of course, what's better than having the player find their own muscle memory in a race in a fucking sewer? That's right, we are going to make a sewer rat race. First things first, a place to race. We have this room under the Capitol and I don't have any larger plans for it, so let's do it here. The point of this minigame is just to be fast. I call it a race, but it's more of a time attack challenge. The punishment for failure is lost time, so I won't bother with damaging tiles or anything. Now that our first version is complete, we of course need to test if the rat can actually clear it. So we... Oh. Fuck. Well, you see, the rat has a mechanic where if you are a long enough distance from the player, the rat explodes. For puzzles, it's great, as the player position is now another element to consider. For high-speed races, not so much. I did flirt with the idea of having the player run after the rat as part of the challenge, but that's more effort than it's worth. Thankfully, Drama of the Past was smart enough to put the distance into a variable, so if we just make this bigger, we can easily clear the whole track. At the start of the race, we will create a rat, and for this specific rat only, we will increase the distance up the ass. So now we can... Wait, what? Okay, you might not see anything wrong here, but this here shows that a very important system is not working. And in this game, the player and anything else you control really uses coyote time. It's a system that allows the player to jump, even when they are not on the ground. This is not a double jump. The idea is that after you run off a cliff, you still have a split second that you can press the jump button for it to still go through. That's because humans have a very hard time judging when they are still on the ground, and this is here to make the experience smoother. And as you can see, it's not happening, even though it should. This number on top of my head shows if coyote time is active, but it stops after the first jump. Friendly reminder that I had people play the beta, which is off the main story, and no one caught that. Of course, if I wanted you to race with this thing, it needed to work. Instead of actually smartly looking at the code and trying to fix it, I just grafted the player code a couple of times into the rat code till it worked. I did achieve flight at one point, but after some troubleshooting, coyote time has returned to our rat. And with that, we also had our racetrack. Truly remarkable. Of course, it couldn't stay as this ugly purple paste, so I gave it some tiles to make it look better. The reason you should do this as late as possible is because testing will need a lot of small changes and you would rather not replace the tiles each time you make a small change. So let's just make the mini guy NPC and we are done, right? we have this guy place us here, and if we touch this at the start of the room, the minigame triggers. The only way for us to touch this at the start of the room is via this guy. Easy, right? Well, I say this would be a race. A rat time attack doesn't really make sense in this world, so I need to make some other contestants. I took the existing rat code and refactored it to work without player input, so I can force it to jump and run just like the player would. And this makes it fucked. You might have seen the problem already. Our track isn't straight, so there needs to be some logic apart from go to goal or move forward. Because this is a 2D platformer race, we can't have our contestants fly to the goal. They need to jump and run like the player does. So most of the built-in pathfinding goes out of the window. So, how do we make these fuckers clear the track? Well, you might be thinking, AI. Teach you when it should and should not jump and have it run. And that would be a take from people who don't know how hard it would be to actually program a self-jumping intelligence. Also, I do not want the game to suddenly spike in performance load whenever we start a fucking minigame. We need to fake this somehow. But how? Seeing as the track is static, we could add some timed logic to the objects. Basically have it jump at exactly the same time, every time. Some trial and error and we could easily be able to do it. But fuck that approach. It would take forever. And all it would do is give us what amounts to a static animation. If we wanted it to look like a race, we would need to make a couple of these. And all of that would take forever times 6 or more. And even after that, if you retry the race a couple of times, you will see the race is the same each time and the illusion is broken.
Well, after watching this video, the illusion is broken for everyone already, so why bother?
My brother in Christ, you came here specifically to see how the sausage is made, and now you are complaining. Now, what we are going to do is the most sophisticated of tricks, the most bullshit of the bullshit. We are going to make fake AI. Now, you might be wondering, why is this rat jumping over us? Well, you see, there's actually an invisible block here. When the rat is on the ground and touches this block, it forces it to jump. When it hits a wall, it changes directions, like a Goomba. This allows us to modify the track with these invisible objects, so the fake rat always ends up on the correct path. Okay, there's a problem. This specific part of the track forces the player to jump up and back to reach the next platform. Our fake rat cannot jump back, so now what? Not to worry, because fake AI got us covered. You see, I have a couple of these invisible objects. They all have their specific use, but as long as they do not bother us in this specific room, we can use them. For now we have been using the ledge object, that is used to keep objects in bounds without having to place extra walls the player can interact with. But we can use another object, mostly used in the overworld. Now, when our fake rat hits this other object in the air, they would change direction and... Okay, one extra bit of logic. They will only change direction when going specifically from the left. You might be thinking about how horrible this is and all the cases where it could break or cause issues. But please realize this logic is only used in this small part of this specific room. One room out of like 600. With this, our fake rat can clear this part of the race. Very impressive, I know. After the most ass-looking invisible fuckery you have ever seen, let's see if our fake rat is capable of finishing the whole race. Truly incredible. But this isn't a 1v1, we want others. Meet Rumi, Whitey, Skull, Fairy and Lack. Now, you might be wondering, isn't this just like the time to jumps idea? We have a race that will be exactly the same every time. There's even less variation as each contestant will always take the same path. That is true, for now. To make the race more dynamic looking, we will give the fake rats a very specific variable, called retardation. Each time the fake rat wants to jump, we run a random function. What this does, it gives us a random number from 0 to whatever retardation is. If the number is the same as retardation, they will not jump. This adds a level of randomness to the race. Of course, we will give one of the fake rats an immunity to this, so the minigame can still retain its goal of being a time attack challenge. We give each of the other contestants a retardation stat. The higher it is, the lower the chance of them not jumping. In my own retardation, I made it so that the higher your retardation, the smarter you are. Of course, any of these rats can win the race if they are lucky, but at the most it will give them less than half a second of advantage. In a race as slow as this, it really does not make much of a difference. We also have this part of the race that will grant the player extra time as the fake rats take a detour. Now, one more thing. I changed the function that plays the jump sound effect with one that makes it slightly different each time. Because listening to this gives me a headache. Now, let's see our final result. Is this some incredible minigame that will be remembered? Fuck no. Is it a fun, small distraction? Yeah, and that is what it was meant to be. It's also a testament to my ability to graft random bits of code and assets together to create something transformative. Most minigames will most likely have the same format. This was just a small video to show you how the process of those goes. What makes this one unique, however, is that you can do one very special thing. Gamble! All in on Skull! Now, okay, this part is without the script, so please bear with me. Now you have probably noticed the style of video is very different from my usual style. I either make shitpost or prefer to have the game talk for themselves. The two videos I really made with a script were the end of year roundups. The reason why I made a video like this is because in the future I want to make a post-mortem of Iridescent. A full video going over the whole process, maybe not as in-depth as this, all the ups, downs, funny stories and the like. For that I want to have a full voiceover, much like you are hearing right now. I did realize, however, that I am very out of shape when it comes to voiceovers, especially in English. I'm using a voice changer to hide my identity, but that doesn't excuse my lack of performance. I want to use the videos I make between now and the release of Iridescent to practice a bit. I would like for the post-mortem to be a high quality video, and of course I need to practice a lot more with script writing, editing and of course voiceover. I have two more topics for videos I would like to make. One's about making a boss fight and one's about making a dungeon. Both will of course be a lot larger in scope than a minigame video. If you guys like this style, then I will make more of it. But please remember that if I make these kind of videos, they take a lot more time, a lot more planning, so the upload schedule will decrease by a lot. If you guys prefer the shorter shitposty videos or gameplay videos, I'll stick to those. Maybe a combination of the two. To give a small update about the game, currently the beta has been played by most people I gave it to and finished. All the playtesters except like one or two, the one or two have started a lot later, so they haven't finished yet. The people that have finished it took around a week of playing, so the game is definitely bigger than I was expecting. I was expecting like 8 hours, but people clocked in like 20 to 40 at least. I've gotten a lot of feedback and I'm going to implement as much as possible while also making the side content. For now I'm all over the place with the project, so I lost the clear goal of just make the next dungeon, of make the next story part. and I'm just jumping from task to task without a clear order. So you might see me just do a lot of mini games, do a lot of polish, do whatever. Yeah, so all over the place. Well, yeah, that's all I want to say. Fuck off.